all-new Atari XE
Master System.
Metroid.
California Games.
It's the video game years, and prepare your thumbs for 1987. The systems, the culture, the games. A ninja warrior hits the arcade.
He's a guns and swords kind of modern day ninja.
He's American Ninja.
A little boxer takes on the champ.
Just made him real small. Called him Little Mac. That works.
And two brothers battle a street gang.
A game that couldn't have come out at a more perfect time.
Plus, a robot boy comes alive, and a legendary adventure unfolds. So put on your leisure suit and land on the carrier. 1987 is here.
PacMania by Namco!
Let's not get too excited here.
Well, I can't actually, because this game is mostly a big pile of crap.
Namco went a little bit back to basics here. They just say, let's take the Pac-Man maze, let's kind of tilt it 45 degrees and shift it, and let's give Pac-Man a jump. Because why not?
I played Pac-Mania in the arcade one time. I put a quarter in, said, wow, you can jump over ghosts. Until like the third level, and then all of a sudden the ghosts jump as well. So what's the point of adding this gameplay element, and then it's useless after like the third level?
Normally Pac-Man fits on one screen. Most Pac-Man games did anyway. This one's a close-up view, and it looks really cool because everything's really big, but it also was part of the challenge because you couldn't see very far in front of you.
How are you supposed to strategize when you don't know where the damn ghosts are, Namco? How? Why did you do it to me?
Pac-Mania has been ported and rehashed multiple times and is generally received pretty favorably. I mean, I like it.
Yeah, the horse was dead by this point.
It's bullshit. Play any other Namco game.
I cannot say enough great things about Legend of Zelda. This is quite possibly my favorite game for the NES, maybe outside of Super Mario Bros. 3. But, I mean, after Donkey Kong and after Super Mario Bros., Shigeru Miyamoto comes out again with a completely different type of game.
It entirely kickstarted a genre and just opened pretty much everyone's minds who was playing video games at the time to just what a video game could be. How much could be in a video game, how many secrets could be in a game, just what the medium was truly capable of.
I was used to the time finishing levels like Super Mario Brothers, like a 1 level, 2 level. An entire world to explore? It was confusing. I didn't know where to start and where to end. I didn't get it at first.
You go into a cave, you get your sword. Good luck to you. Go figure out what's next.
There was a lot to it. It was more complicated than any game I knew at the time, and it was sort of like a community effort to figure this game out.
The Legend of Zelda is the name of the game. The main character is not Zelda. Zelda's the princess that you're trying to rescue. You are Link. You're not Zelda.
The whole world is open to you, and you can explore it at your leisure. Some places obviously harder than others, but it's up to you to go where you want. And it's this openness that was very new to video game players at the time, especially in the home console market.
You know, you go north, there's mountains. You go west, there's woods. There's water around the coastline you can go. And you can explore and go into caves and talk to people, shopkeepers. You know, there's secrets. You can find moblins that give you cash. There's a gambling game. There's people that give you tips. I mean, this was unheard of in video games before this.
I spent days, weeks, and summer vacations just burning every damn tree on every single screen. Just maybe there's a staircase there, and it turns out you would end up owning money, but then I would know. And then you go to every single wall and you bomb every single wall. Is right between them though, so you can get 2 squares at once, so you don't have to waste a bunch of bombs.
So many cool things about the game. I know that I always loved that when you had full hearts, the sword could blast. That's another thing that I loved as a kid, that little noise that it made when you shot your sword. That pew! Pew! I mean, it was just so cool. All the sound effects, the music, everything about it was just so cool and really just drew you into the game.
How about the first time you enter the dungeon and that moody music comes on? And you're like, holy shit. This feels like an entirely different game than the nice, bright, cheerful overworld. You have different enemies. You have to find the compass in each level to see where the Triforce is hidden with the enemy. You get the map so you know where you're going. You find the keys.
Zelda had lots of weapons and items that you'd use to progress through the game, and there was kind of an order that you would go through things, but you could do things completely out of order.
Hell, if you don't want to upgrade your sword, you don't have to. You don't have to use certain weapons in the game if you don't want to. You know, there's people that go online and just beat the game using like bombs and boomerangs. You know, it's ridiculous how much freedom you have in this game.
Miyamoto's inspiration for the game came from exploring fields, woods, and caves in Kyoto, and just experiencing the wonder of being a kid and discovering new things.
It was the first NES game Nintendo put a battery backup in, which showed how important it was. Otherwise, it can take you, 10, 12 hours to play this if you take your time and don't know what you're doing.
But when I finally did understand what the hell was going on, it became the greatest game I'd ever played. I love The Legend of Zelda, a pure classic.
I think The Legend of Zelda might be the first video game that ever got me so hooked that I wanted to play Legend of Zelda outside of the video game. Like, I wanted to be Link.
Obviously, Zelda would be huge. It's one of the biggest gaming franchises still today. Hugely successful on Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii U. They're still pumping these out. CDI, the great CDI versions. We love you, Zelda, except for those CDI ones.
Wizards and Warriors is a platformer developed by Rare, and it had music by David Wise, and it's really good.
Again, another game you turn it on and the title screen music is just awesome.
And you play as the knight Kuros, and you have to defeat the wizard Malakil by making it to the end of the game.
That's Wizards and Warriors. You turn that on, you hear, you're like, dude, this game is going to be badass.
You progress through the levels by collecting keys that open light-colored doors and earn gems to pay off a knight. I don't know why.
Problem is, I don't remember it actually playing very well. I remember the sword strike being very short.
The sword strike was like,
And while you can hurt enemies with your sword extended, like air enemies or jumping enemies, the combat just never felt satisfying.
No. The game was criticized for having unlimited continues and allowing you to start right where you left off, but it's a hard game, so I think it's kind of necessary.
So Wizards and Warriors, there were 3 released on the NES. Probably best known for the sequel Iron Sword having a nice shirtless Fabio on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Leisure Suit Larry, you're Larry Laffer in the land of the lounge lizards. And the object of the game is to get laid.
The goal of the game is to make it with one of 4 possible women of varying difficulty. Some of them are easy.
This game was created by Al Lowe, and it's unique for an adventure game because it focuses a lot on humor, and you play as a utter loser.
He is like a 40-year-old version who's trying to get with a lady. And it's in the same kind of style as other Sierra games like King's Quest, except not as ridiculous in terms of random deaths, but it can be frustrating. It's an adventure game. You have to do this, that, and the other in order to get women to agree to have sex with you. Doesn't always work out, and that's part of the amusement of it.
You can get it on with a prostitute right at the beginning of the game, but if you don't have a protection, you get an STD and die.
It unfortunately does suffer from some of the problems that early adventure games suffer from, which is a picky parser and places where you don't die but you can get stuck. Yeah. I don't mind dying in adventure games. That's fine. I hate it when you get stuck in an adventure game and they don't bother to tell you that you're completely screwed and that you have to start over.
Let's not beat around the bush here. This is an adult game for adults only. No kids allowed.
And I remember it being an adult game and my parents didn't want me to play it, but I would sneak in and play every once in a while. And I was really blown away at the humor in the game. Of course, looking back on the graphics are pretty dated, but the humor is awesome. The story is great.
And the thing is, I think that people get, especially then maybe got wrong about Leisure Suit Larry, is they didn't realize that the entire game is a satire making fun of these skis bags who hang out in clubs and lounges and just try to get with whoever they can get. And it's very tongue-in-cheek and very funny. And that was, unfortunately, I think, lost on a lot of people.
There was an age verification system to keep little kids from playing it, and it had very of-the-time questions, one of which was O.J. Simpson is, and one of the wrong answers was under indictment.
And there's a message to this game. Larry's just looking to get laid, but eventually he realizes that it's not enough for him. He actually wants to find true love. And that's a theme that you see throughout the series. It's not just, yeah, you bang some broads here and there, some, you know, but eventually you want something fulfilling.
And now, it should have been a video game in 1987.
Oh, hello, I'm Eric, and here's the stuff from 1987 that should have been made into a video game, but was not. Full House for the NES. In this game published by LJN, you would play as Danny Tanner, who has to literally juggle working a full-time job, raising his 3 daughters as a single parent, and courting his love interest. If he drops even one of these aspects of his life, it's game over. How rude. Over the Top for the Sega Master System. In this arm wrestling game, you would test your strength against 8 competitors in an attempt to win the grand prize and your son's love back. Basically, you just hit buttons as fast as you could. What I do is I just try to take my hat and just try to turn it around, and it's like a switch that goes on. And when the switch goes on, I feel like another person. I feel, I don't know, feel like a truck, like a machine. From Rick Astley's album, Whenever You Need Somebody, Never Gonna Give You Up for the NES. In this exciting and surprisingly deep game, I had to do it. I'm sorry, I had to do it. In television, Max Headroom for the PC. Make a music video by manipulating Max Headroom's face, much like Mario in Super Mario 64. Wow. What fun. And that's the stuff from 1987 that should have been made into a video game. And I want to play them